Sorry about that. I was in the green room, I think. How is everybody? Um, we're gonna let a few people get in here. What's up? What's up, D. Lynn? How are you? Great to see you. We're on LinkedIn, Diabetes Tour Guide, YouTube channel, as well as Performance Medicine's YouTube channel, Performance Medicine's Instagram. Steve, you got to give me an update, buddy. Want to know how it's going? Give me a 1 to 10. Jerry, what's up? Great to see you. We're letting some people get in here. Hello, Brandon. What's up, man? Brandon's over on Instagram. Hello, thank you for hanging out. Hillbilly Boogie's over there. What's going on? Let's see. Amanda Sherrod, Susan Berman. What's going on? Thank you guys for joining us over on Instagram. Grandma Mary, what's up? Steve, that's awesome. 8.5 is incredible. That is so cool. Super proud of you, man. Bianca, what's going on? Great to see you. Looking forward to today. We got the twins are in the building at the same time. Look at this. We got Katie and Carter here. What's going on, guys? How are y'all? I'm looking forward to, I'm going to see you guys Thursday. Looking forward to being up in the Tri-Cities. Let's see who else is in here. See you over on Instagram. Roel, what's up, man? Over on Instagram. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to have a great show tonight. Happy Tuesday, Carter. It's my favorite day of the week. I'm so glad to be here. Stan, what's up? Great to see you. This week, one, you guys need to sign up for the weekly newsletter if you haven't. It's where we basically send an email. It's called Performance Weekly, Tuesday at 3:00. All of our shows are on it. Links to everything that you might be interested in from a content perspective. And it's just a good way to stay in touch with us. Let's see here. This was a really, really fun one. There's my man, Donovan Duncan, over on your right, I think, if you're looking at your screen. Senior Moments, a really cool concept here. Doc interviews Donovan. Donovan is 82 years young, doing great. He's energetic. Man, and he is sharp as a tick, man. I don't think that's a phrase. Sharp as a tack. But man, Donovan was great. He goes over some of his, how he's stayed as healthy as he has over being 82, and man, it does not look like he's slowing down at all. So thank you, Donovan, for coming on. Great show on the Common Sense MD. One, it was just very encouraging. It was so encouraging. So Donovan, I hope you keep doing stuff like this. It encourages so many of us. We appreciate it. Over on Dive Into Diet, nutrition coach Lucas Schmidt talks about training for longevity. In this one, he breaks down grip strength and zone 2 training and why those are important for aging well. Super fun episode we did with him. We've talked a lot about grip strength. We've talked a little about zone 2. In that episode, he kind of breaks it down as to why that's important. So thanks, Lucas, for doing that, putting out that content. Let's see here. We got a diabetes tour guide. We got Sarah Guthrie, a great friend of ours. Sarah recently had a baby. We're super pumped for her and happy for her family. And Sarah talks a little bit about going through pregnancy as someone with type 1 diabetes. And Andy does a great job of talking with her about, what it was like going to the doctor and what they needed to monitor during the whole pregnancy as a patient with type 1. So thank you, Sarah, for doing that. It was so like Donovan, it was just super encouraging, and she's such a fun person, and we loved having her on. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Sarah, for doing that. I think Doc's almost ready. Barbara, what's going on? Great to see you. Thank you guys for hanging out. We're going to get to the show here in just a second. As you know, we do this every Tuesday. We answer your health and wellness questions. So if you have a question, go ahead and put in the comments. I see Roel's barbecuing right now, and I love that. Is anyone else barbecuing? I wish I was barbecuing. If Brandon's still here, I wish I knew how to barbecue. Julie, what's going on? Great to see you. Thank you for hanging out. So good to see you. I'm going to try to get up there to Johnson City as well. Julie, thank you so much. All right, we got some people in here. Thank you, guys. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. We had a couple come in throughout the week. Thank you in advance to those who sent in questions. Thank you to our Instagram family for being with us tonight. All right, is Doc ready to roll? What's going on?
Hey, man. Good. How you doing?
I feel like, I see you in the green room when I'm talking before the show, and I just feel like you're making fun of me the whole time.
No, I'm just wondering when you're going to finish up. We get the show rolling. I mean, you're very good at this. You're very talkative.
I like it when I have the mic. I'm getting ready to give you the mic. None of these questions are for me, so I had to get out my. I guess it's a monologue.
All I picked up was sharp as a tick, and I've never heard that statement before.
I know. I thought I was trying to be. I was trying to be like descriptive, but man, Donovan, if it's not sharp as a tick, it's sharp as a tack. He was sharp as a tack.
I think it's a tack. Yeah, he really was. Yeah, it was a good. It was a good little thing. We call it a senior moments.
Yeah,
and that we may have to start doing more of those.
I'm super pumped about it. I think one, it's just Donovan is so relatable. He talks about his specific routines. I mean, the dude is taking 40 vitamins. I think what was interesting about it is he was one of those people that kind of impacted you with, along with my grandma Mary, who's with us tonight. And I believe, grandma Mary's she just had a birthday, 88.
88, yeah.
And sharp Amazing. As a tack is how I would describe grandma Mary, and gorgeous. So, she's also one who's been taking so many vitamins, and so it's just,
let's rephrase it. Sharp as a tic tac. That sounds good. That sounds better.
I see Montana's in here from our West Knoxville office. So glad to see you, Montana. I think I'm going to be in West Knoxville Friday. Looking forward to hanging out. Let's see. Thank you, Carter. I appreciate that. Doc, you ready to answer some questions?
Sure.
Let's see here. I see my man Raleigh's over on Instagram. Raleigh, what's going on, man? It was great to hang out with you last night. Thank you for joining. Let's get into the show. I can see I already have made one mistake with my question. Let's start with this one. What is the best time of the month to have our hormones checked? Sorry.
It's a great question. Yeah.
And let's go over male and female.
Male, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Really, it's, if you want to get a testosterone level checked, it's usually, they say check it in the morning when it's going to be at the highest, but I'll check it anytime, to be honest with you. With females, it's different. If you have cycles, of 28-day cycles, the best time to come in is to get lab work is between day 19 and 23, day 1 being the first day of your menstrual cycle. So that's the optimal time. And sometimes I'll check it at different times during the cycle and get more information there. The first part of the cycle is an estrogenic phase, and the second half is the progestin phase. And then when that drops off, period. But I like to get it during the last half of the month, preferably if you have 28-day cycles, between day 19 and 23 is the best time for me to look at it.
All right. I hope that helps. It's for checking T levels for men. If they're already on hormones, is there a timing you like to check it as well?
Oh, a great point. Excuse me. Yeah, if they're on shots, I like to check it about 5 to 7 days after they're shot.
Okay.
That's the most accurate way for me to predict how it's working because, you have peaks and troughs with that. But if you're on a cream, it doesn't matter. If you're on pellets, it doesn't matter.
Cool.
So, good question.
Great question. Thank you for sending that in over email. This is a perfect aminos question. I took my perfect aminos every day for the past week and had a headache every day. So clearly they aren't for me. Do you see/hear this frequently? What's your thoughts on this?
I don't think I've ever heard of that. No, that's odd. What I would do is, again, any supplement or medicine, prescription medicine even, can cause a side effect.
Mm,
So if that happened, then what I would do is stop them, see if the headaches go away. In a week or two, try it again for a day or two and see if it comes back. And that way you'll notice something may be in there that you're extremely sensitive to.
mm.
Um, it doesn't have a lot of fillers. If that happens again, we're going to have to look at the fillers in there that you may be allergic to. I don't know if you've had migraine headaches or what kind of headache it is, but sometimes migraines can be set off by a particular, like a red dye or something, but there's no red dye in there. Um, but it warrants, if that does happen again, it probably did cause it. And we'll have to look at each individual ingredient in there and then maybe come up with a different plan. Interesting. You're the first person that's told me that.
It kind of goes back to, and I hope this helps everyone in here. We've said it quite a bit, but adding things one at a time is so helpful for this very reason. You really can, pinpoint, if you are, not responding well to something. And so with you in that, what you say, whether it's medications or vitamins, add things one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I do if possible. In
Gr-
in this formulation, you have the 8 essential amino acids, so I just haven't seen that, but it's probably not one of the amino acids is probably the, what it's mixed with. I'll have to go back and review every little ingredient they put in there.
mm.
Maybe silica or something to give it a little bit of shelf life, but, that's a great point. Try it again and see.
Great question, great topic there. We appreciate you guys. Any sort of insight you're seeing is super helpful, and maybe somebody in here tonight can relate. If anyone has felt something similar, put in the comments. Your comments are always super helpful. I'm going to keep going here. This is uh, a really great question. Starts off by saying, my husband is on a health journey. What is the best way to get off blood pressure medications? One, I think it's amazing that he's on his health journey. And I'm assuming this is a good place to start. Doc, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, certainly. Blood pressure is very important. A lot of times, blood pressure can be inherited. You can have that tendency to have high blood pressure through inherited genes. But like I always say, only about 15% of what happens to you is genetically based. The rest of it's your environment, meaning not only what you eat, what kind of things you're exposed to from the air to the water, but also stress, sleep, and that type of thing. So I'm glad he's on a health journey. We're all kind of on a health journey, and it's a journey to better health. And there's no doubting that we live in a toxic world. We're all really like a loaded gun ready to go off. It's just the environment that pulls the trigger. So it could be something uh, that's he's kind of already predisposed to anyway, but doesn't mean he can't get off his blood pressure medicines. In truth, I think he absolutely probably could. The first thing I think about with hypertension is exercise. Exercise always lowers blood pressure,
Mm,
not right when you're doing it, but afterwards. Magnesium is a good little supplement to lower your blood pressure. If you have sleep apnea, that can cause hypertension. you're overweight, it can cause hypertension. If you have insulin resistance, it can cause hypertension. Um, and again, careful measurement of blood pressure. I had a patient today who measures it constantly, and she admitted today that she checks it too much, and she needs to relax and stop checking it so much because she gets worried about it. And in her case, a lot of anxiety causes
Yeah.
her blood pressure.
Yeah.
Really, she probably doesn't need to be on a blood pressure medicine if she gets her anxiety under control. She's a small business owner, very busy, that type thing. Probably doesn't exercise quite enough. But there's a lot of things you can do, supplementations, garlic, hawthorn, berberine. So yeah, I mean, he should come in and get a Cleveland Heart Panel and see where he's at. One time when you check your blood pressure in a doctor's office is not very helpful. So certainly, I hope you have a blood pressure cuff that you use on your own that can check it. Again, don't get obsessed about it because it can go up just by thinking about it. That's why sometimes we use biofeedback and other, meditative ways to lower your blood pressure, which I think is definitely possible. So good. I hope he can get off all his medications. And, hypertension is just one of the triad of hyperlipidemia and insulin resistance. And they all kind of talk to each other minute by minute. So a lot of it's all together. So wonderful. Have him get some baseline stuff like a Cleveland Heart Panel, CT calcium scoring, make sure he's sleeping well, doesn't have sleep apnea. He's exercising daily. He's maintaining proper weight. Doesn't have a lot of visceral fat or insulin resistance. So get him on the right supplements and all. So that's awesome. But it's definitely possible.
I'm gonna put this up from D-Lin because whenever we say magnesium in my head, I'm like, man, there's so many magnesiums. What's your thoughts for this one for D-Lin?
I like malate. That's probably the one. I like glycinate, which is great for your brain health as well. And threonate. That's a form that I put all of those in our form of magnesium. Now, if you're constipated, you might mag citrate, but for the other brain reasons, but probably malate, in my opinion, really helps blood pressure as much as any of them. So that's a great question.
Thank you, D-Lin, for putting that in there. And just to clarify, you would say wean off the blood pressure meds. Is that right? For something like this?
Generally, if you've been on for a long time, I like to kind of wean them off, taper them off.
All right. Great question. Thank you so much. Super proud of your husband. Thank you for putting in the question. I hope that you'll come back. Hopefully he comes to the live Q&A and hangs out with us on Tuesdays. Let's get to, let's see. Okay. This is a thyroid question. I feel like the majority of 50-something-year-old females that I know have thyroid issues. Is this like hormones in that over time it is inevitable that every female will have thyroid issues, like they all have hormones that need to be addressed at a certain age? Great question. So this is, are you going to have thyroid issues just because you're getting older as a female? Same way we look at, testosterone levels and estrogen levels and all that.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you just made. No, it's not inevitable because you're a female that all will have it, but certainly 1 in 3 has some kind of thyroid problem, whether they know it or not. Only 1 in 16 men have it. I was reading about this the other night with the reason I know those stats, but certainly you don't have to have it. And again, there's a definition of Hashimoto's versus Graves versus just a suboptimal hypothyroidism, where you have normal function but not optimal function. So it's not inevitable, but you're certainly more likely to have it because you're a female, because of the interactions from the other hormones that you need. Women are more hormonal than men. And that certainly goes along with thyroid. very common in women, not nearly as common in men. Uh, but I think diet has a lot to do with it. The three supplements you ought to think about if you have thyroid problems, especially Hashimoto's, are selenium, zinc, and copper. So think about those three um, deficiencies in your diet. That's why I put in that super vitamin. I'm not trying to promote my vitamin night, but my super vitamin has all three of those in there. Has the right amount of selenium, zinc, and copper. So if you take that, automatically you don't need to start eating Brazil nuts and all that, because you could get too much selenium. There's a chance of that too. But great question.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
women always need to, and as your other hormones drop off, you are more likely to have your thyroid suboptimal. Again, you want a good free T3 level, which is where you're at. And thyroid can be tricky. I mean, you've got all kinds of little things that can affect it, like reverse T3. It's an inactive hormone that binds up all your active T3 sites. So a lot of times we check reverse T3s. We check antibody levels and try to make sure your gut is tuned up. Remember, it all starts in your gut with good nutrition. Or if you have bad nutrition, leaky gut, you're more likely to set off that autoimmune disease. If you have a lot of inflammation in your body, you're more likely to. But yes, women are more hormonal, more likely to have thyroid problems, but it's not inevitable that every one of them gets it.
Such a
Great
great
point.
question. I've never thought about it that way, but it makes so much sense. And it seems to me like, say you get on hormones as a 50-something female, would that lessen the likelihood that you would have thyroid issues because you're
Mhm.
balancing your other
Yeah,
hormones?
I do. Remember, thyroid, insulin, and cortisol are the three hormones that talk to each other minute by minute through what the levels are in your bloodstream.
Mm,
So, in other words, if you're insulin resistant and your insulin levels very high to try to keep your blood sugars normal, um, it really impairs the conversion of T4 to T3, the active form of thyroid. Same thing with high cortisol levels from stress. It impairs that conversion in your liver of T4 to the active form T3. And so it makes a difference. And those three glands that put out those three hormones they all work together. So if one's off, the others are going to be off too.
great question. I love this topic. Thank you for sending this in over email. Real quick, I see our esthetician, Jasmine, over in the West Knoxville office is with us tonight. Jasmine, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all that you do. I see Bentha has a question. I'm over on Instagram. Bentha has a question. I'm going to get to that here in just a minute. Thank you, Bentha, for that, as well as Afro Brain. Um, let me know which supplements we're talking about, Afro Brain, as far as the sourcing. I think I'm with you. Okay, we're going to keep moving here. Thank you, guys. If you guys got questions for Dr. Rogers, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm looking at Instagram as well as the other platforms we are on. Let's see here. Where are we at? Okay, let's get to this one. Your thoughts on the shingles vaccine. This is a common question we're getting. Let's, kind of stick to shingles. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm not against it. But I'm getting a little bit more dubious about it. I took the first one years ago. Now, it used to be a one-shot deal. Now it's called Shingrix, and it's a two-shot deal. Several years ago, I took because I had a small case of the shingles, and so 6 months later, you can take one if you want. So I did take one. Felt horrible, so I decided not to get the second one. That's my thoughts on it. And I just the older I get and the more I see, the more likely I am to inject some foreign substance into my body that I'm not 100% certain of, what else is in it. So I'm leery. Let's put it that way.
Great question that came in over Instagram. Thank you so much for putting that in there. I hope that helps a little bit. We're going to get to branch chain amino acids.
And
Lots of
remember,
guys.
there's good treatments for shingles too, just like there's good treatments for the flu. I don't take the flu shot anymore either.
Is there
So
is
go
there a
ahead.
couple treatments you like for shingles? Top of your head?
Yeah, there's all kinds of Valtrex, acyclovir. Yeah,
Okay.
you can treat it. It certainly needs to be treated early. I usually hit it with steroids too, because you don't want that post-herpetic neuropathy. So yes, certainly it's treatable. Just early recognition, because shingles can get pretty bad.
Yeah.
I've seen some horrible cases of it.
Yeah.
And for those people, they probably wish they had taken the vaccine if it helped lessen it at all. So, I'm certain people have had it just horribly. So there's always risk and benefits.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I love the way you put it. Let's get to the branch chain amino acid questions. Lots of guys at the gym only take the BCAAs, branch chain amino acids, as opposed to the EAAs. I'll be honest, I don't know what the EAAs are.
Essential amino acids.
Essential. There we go.
Yeah, the branch chain amino acids are part of the essential. I think they're leucine, isoleucine, and valine, or the branch chain, which are more tied to muscle growth. And certainly the BCCAs are important, especially for people that do a lot of weightlifting. But really, I think you need all of them. You do need, they're essential. You have to have them. Your body doesn't make them. So we talked about that last week a lot. Is there 8 or 9 essential amino acids? Really, there's 8 as an adult. There's 9 when you're a kid. One of them you start making. But yeah, so I think you need all of them. So that's a mistake some people make, is they just take the branch chains and then they don't have enough of the other ones. So great question though. Just great question, because you do hear a lot about the branch chains, but then you don't hear enough about the other ones. And if you're eating a great diet, you can get them through that too.
So they've tried to convince you that the BCAAs are all you need, but that is not what I think based on what we discussed. Okay. Am I correct?
Yeah.
You need them all, not just the 3. So this is correct.
Yeah. Right.
Cool. All right. Great questions there. I think that does it for the questions that came in throughout the week. I'm double checking just to make sure. I believe I did. Okay, cool. If I missed you, I'm super, super sorry. Shoot me an email and I'll make sure that gets on first of next week. And I kind of have an eye on it now too. I see Angie's question over on Instagram talking about low dose naltrexone. Thank you, Angie, for that. We're going to get to that in just a second. Just so we know, the questions that come on Instagram, I can't put them on the screen. I have not figured out how to do that. So that's the only ones I won't be able to put on the screen. So we're going to start over here, but I'll get to Angie and Bentha here in just a second. All right, let's get going. Let's see where I'm at. You guys are awesome with these questions. Thank you so much, Danny. This is a great question. Would it be a side effect after stop taking CGAC 1295 with ipamorelin to feel low energy all the time? Great question. It seems that he is not taking it anymore. Yeah. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah. I felt when I'm off of it, I don't feel as good for sure. So I take breaks from it just like I do most things. But yeah, I can definitely tell when I'm taking, especially if I'm working out a lot. And, it definitely gives me energy, and I think it helps build muscle, repair muscle. So yeah, it could be. I mean, there can always be other reasons for low energy, but I love the CGAC 1295 with ipamorelin. I know when it's working, because particularly for me, about within 5 minutes after I take it, it's an injection, I get flushed. I get a flush feeling every time. And so I know it's kind of kicking in and promoting my own growth hormone levels. So, I really attribute that a lot to energy, muscle repair. I think it's got a good anti-inflammatory effect for all your joints. But but yeah, I'm really big on that one. I like that, and BPC 157 are my favorite peptides. Um, so yeah, make sure that nothing else is going on with you, but certainly could be. But yeah, that's just such a great peptide.
So does that mean like if you start something like CJC 2095, that's something you have to stay on forever, or
No,
like,
no, not at all.
because you would think it would raise your baseline, so you can stay on it for a while.
That's the reason. That's why you do it 5 nights a week instead
Uh,
of 7. It automatically kind of prevents you from getting tolerant to it. But I mean, I still take breaks from it for a month or two, a couple times a year. Um, but yeah, it's a great question. But I think there's so many great uh, advantages from taking it. I wish it wasn't so expensive, but I think that and rapamycin, I credit those two things that I take for helping me age better.
Danny, such a great question, man. Thank you so much for putting that in there. Katie, yes, I did. And I can feel it. I got a great walk in today. And it was just a beautiful day. And I see my sister's in here, all the way in
Kelly's in
Austin.
there.
Look at this.
Kelly,
This
how
is
you
incredible.
enjoying? She's enjoying Austin. I think she's been to a rodeo, and she's been to. I think they have the South by
They have
Southwest
South by Southwest. Yep.
week of concerts. Yeah, she's kind of turned into a country girl, isn't she? Cowboy boots, cowboy hat. She's got that. I hope you're having a great time, Kelly.
Kelly, we love you. We love you so much. I hope you're having a blast down there. And Kelly's, she's coming in with the tough questions around AI. So we'll get to that in just a second. AI and medicine is a hot topic. I'm going to go over to Instagram here and get to Bentha. Bentha, I hope you're still with me. I'm going to just kind of verbally speak this question because I can't put it over there. I'm on estrogen cream and the compounded progesterone pill. My estrogen levels are not coming up as well. Is there any danger in my estrogen being lower than my progesterone? And if you need me to repeat that, I will.
Yeah, that's a great question. It always boils down to the balance between estrogen and progesterone. Certainly, progesterone is a very safe drug. It'd be very hard to overdo it on the progesterone. You could certainly overdo estrogen, even the safe forms of estradiol and estriol that we use. Sometimes on a cream, that's the one that sometimes I have a hard time getting serum levels up on creams. But I don't like to use oral estrogens or oral testosterone. I think it's just safer because you eliminate that first pass effect. Doesn't have to go through the liver and so it won't affect clotting factors. So I even use it on people that, are on blood thinners that other doctors don't know that won't affect it if you do a cream or a pellet. But anyway, certainly, if we're really having a hard time getting your estradiol levels up on your serum results, then sometimes I'll change it to more of a 50-50 mixed ratio of estriol to estradiol. We never use estrone, the old Triest, we never use that. But if I'm having a hard time, sometimes I'll get a salivary test and look at that to see if somehow the serum test is not representative of where you're really at. Maybe is more, representative from tissue levels when you get saliva tests, but they can be inaccurate as well. Sometimes we'll do the urinary, estrone metabolite test that can give you some information at times. It's a very complex test that sometimes is confusing, but to make things simple, you could certainly, you certainly want, if you want it, the perfect ratio is from 8 to 1, 10 to 1 estrogen to progesterone. But a lot of times we don't get it. So, and it is true that the more progesterone you use, you can lower your estrogen level. So, so you're not going to get hurt by taking too much progesterone, but you certainly can lower your estrogen levels because of too much progesterone. So it should be able to, be resolved with a little tinkering. That's why female hormones are a lot harder to manage than male hormones. I've said all along, males are simple creatures. Women are more complex hormonally. So, great
Bentha,
question.
yeah, Bentha, I love that question. Please let us know if that helps. I hope that helped a little bit, because that's a very common question we get around that ratio, and I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, let's keep moving here. I just want to put this up from let's see, where was it? I'll put this up from Roel, just for people over on Instagram and Facebook. I heard that CGMs will be available to the public this summer. That's super exciting. Have you heard the same thing, Doc?
Yeah, I have. Dexcom is going to put out an over-the-counter CGM, which is going to be great. Dexcom makes the best ones anyway. Yeah. I love the Freestyle Libre, which I've used just to see what my sugars do when I eat and drink certain things. But yeah, it's going to be over the counter. I'm hoping it'll be affordable. They won't cost that much, and it's certainly supposed to be more accurate too. So I'm pumped up about it. I think everybody should have one.
Yeah.
And not have to have a prescription for one. It's ridiculous. You have to have a prescription for them right now. I think most things should be available without prescriptions that are along those lines. So yeah, I'm pumped.
Real well. Thank you for putting that in there, brother. Let's get to Ruth over on Facebook. Can you have inflammation even if your inflammation markers are fine? That's interesting.
Yeah, you can. I've seen some people like that. There's a lot of different inflammatory markers that we check for. There's 4 of them on the Cleveland Heart Panel. Then you can also order other ones like SED rates and all kinds of rheumatologic markers, from IL-6 to TNF alpha and some of those. So if you dig deep enough, you could probably find markers. But yeah, you sure can. Some of the ordinary markers can be low, although usually if you have significant inflammation, something's going to be up, like your HSCRP is the kind of the gold standard on that. But yeah, great question. Again, you look at labs, but you always go clinically. You treat the clinical picture, not the lab picture.
Is there like an example of of a marker you checked that wasn't like your traditional inflammation markers, but it was a sign that you definitely have inflammation?
Yeah, like SED rate, which is
okay.
For or IL-6, interleukin 6, or TNF alpha, tumor necrosis factor alpha. So yeah, there's a lot of markers out there.
Ruth, that's such a great question. Because you can feel when you feel like you have inflammation, and yet some tests show that everything is normal. So Ruth, thank you for putting that in there. Let's see where we're at. Let's get to Trevor here. Trevor's asking, what are your thoughts on chewing nicotine gum to help with ADHD? Also, what are the negative health consequences? Thank you. That's a great question. We've talked a little bit about this, and I haven't thought to think of to ask what are the negative consequences.
That's a great question, Trevor. Yeah, actually, and I've done a podcast on nicotine, which you can look up and reference. But nicotine actually is the only good thing in a cigarette. Nicotine is actually a pretty good product. The problem with it, because it raises dopamine levels, it helps you feel better, helps you focus better, may prevent Alzheimer's disease. So, and I do like the gum, especially to get somebody off of cigarettes or chewing tobacco, snuff. So I do like it. I prefer the patches over the gum, just because you get an even release. You don't have to have it in your mouth all the time. If you do use the gum, don't chew it, just put it between your cheek and gum. But even then, I kind of worry about the irritation of doing that. But yeah, I think it helps focus. which is what ADHD is all about, because it raises and it makes you feel good. That's why people smoke. I mean, it helps them focus better. And it also has somewhat of I would call it a relaxed focus. That's ADD, ADHD, hyperactive disorder. It doesn't have to always be hyperactive. You can have the non-attentive type of ADHD. But so the medicines that work for that work by inducing and they're usually stimulants, by inducing a calm focus. That's why people love to study with things like Adderall and Provigil. The negative health consequences, of course, don't use it with cigarettes, is that and it's short acting. That's why I like the patch over the gum. But you want more and more. You're kind of chasing that dopamine high. What is it? Dopamine Nation was that book?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, you don't want to always be chasing a high. Otherwise you'll turn into one of these addictive personalities that you don't ever give yourself a chance to relax and heal. So there's good and bad to that. But certainly nicotine in itself is not a bad thing. It has bad connotations because of cigarettes, but that's such a great question. So if you're one of those that can really control it and not let it get out of hand, it's just like alcohol in a way. Nicotine isn't, but in this reference that I'm talking about, some people can drink it and relax and it's okay. Some people can't.
Yeah.
If you have that addictive personality or it turns on some gene, if you have that addiction gene, then you may not be able to do it because you just chase it all the time to the to the other stuff you need to be doing, like relaxing a little bit. So that's such a good question.
I'm going to put this up here from Trevor. Started taking it late last week and felt great every day, better mood, more energy, more social. So his concern is the safety long-term. And
yeah, great question. And you just described it right there because it does make you feel great every day, better mood, but don't expect to keep going up and up and up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're going to plateau and then you say, I need more of it. And so you get that dopamine depletion really. So be careful is all I'm saying. And if you have one of those type addictive personalities, be very careful, but otherwise use it when you need it. Just like when I prescribe Adderall to somebody that really needs it. And I've seen unbelievable good things happen with that drug. And I've seen some bad things too. People can abuse it, but in any event, I always have them take breaks from it and just use it when they need it so they don't get chasing the high all the time. But yeah, great, wonderful question.
I'm going to put this up from Diane because it's we're getting a couple of questions around nicotine. Thank you guys. Question is, want to take for energy? Does it help take in the morning? So this is around nicotine. I'm assuming, Diane. If I'm wrong, let us know. But
yeah, here's the perfect thing, kind of like caffeine. Take it in the morning. Then you know what you do later in the day and the evening. You do yoga. That's what you do for that to relax.
Yeah,
I did do yoga last night.
I was gonna ask you, were you pretty sore around that?
Not really.
Not too bad.
It was an hour with the hot yoga, which was kind of tough. I hadn't done hot yoga in a while, although I do sit in my infrared sauna quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of nicotine is really not bad for you.
Super interesting. Great question there, Trevor. Thank you so much. I see Ryan's over on Instagram. I see Ann. Ann, it's been forever. I miss and love you. It's so good to see you.
The other thing that really helped COVID,
Nikki's over there.
Another thing that helped COVID was nicotine.
Interesting.
It really helped COVID patients.
It's interesting. All right, let's keep going. Great questions. Oh, sorry, Diane. Diane was talking about methylene blue.
Oh, yeah, methylene blue. Yeah, okay. Yeah, same thing. Well, although you could take it a little later in the day, it probably won't keep you up. But I think the perfect time to take methylene blue is probably about 11 o'clock in the morning. And usually if you really need it, I like using 16 milligram about 11 o'clock in the morning. Some people, if you really need to get going early, take it, split the dose, between morning and about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I do find if you take it at night, you won't sleep quite as well. But yeah, methylene blue is another great focus medicine. But it's interesting we're talking about that in relation to nicotine and caffeine and all those things.
So she's taking the tablet. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Diana, I hope that helps. I'm sorry about that. I botched that one. Hope that helps around the methylene blue. Let's see where I'm at. Got it. Okay. I missed the first part of Diane's question. Let's get this one for Diane. Which is better, drops or tablets? I bought tablets from you and not sure best way to take. Diane's referring to, go ahead.
Yeah, they're both good. They're both methylene blue. When you take methylene blue, which is a wonder supplement, in my opinion, it's unbelievable. So many positive things that you can affect with this, but they both work. The tablets have vitamin C in them, and it's higher dose. So, the tablets are easier to take. They're a little more expensive. So what I do, I use the tablets, when I'm on a trip or, don't have the drops, or I'm worried about spilling the drops because, man, those drops won't come out. That methylene blue, I can show you some pictures of my dogs that got into my drops, which you've probably seen, and they ruined a Persian rug too. So, and you got to use quite a few drops, to get 16 milligram, you have to use 32 drops. But it's a little less expensive. And then you take your vitamin C with the drops. It makes it more absorbable. But so both are great. They both work. They're the dogs are. Put that back on again, Ben. They get in your methylene blue, and man, they get messy.
One advantage of the drops.
No, one advantage of the tablets, not the drops.
Sorry, the tablets.
One disadvantage of the drops, your dog gets into them in the mail.
Hey, I want to get this up here from Kelly because it is timely. She's at South by Southwest Super Tech scene down there this week. The questions around AI taking over medicine, you can already see it. There's scribe AIs now that are taking notes for providers. Obviously AI is already being used right now. What's your 2 cents? Where do you think we're at now? Where do you think we're going?
Yeah, it's a great comment question. No, it won't overtake medicine, but it'll have its pluses and minuses for sure. Yeah. Probably the pluses are going to be better than the minuses because AI can just do things so much faster than humans can do. It'll always need a human controlling it and interpreting the results. Because a lot of medicine, you'll find out it's as much an art as it is a science. And a lot of times you can pick up on things that AI cannot pick up on if you have a lot of experience and you can look a patient in the eye and you get these subtle cues that something else is going on, or, that patient's really, I think there's more anxiety going on here than real. Let me try to focus on that a little bit. I find that all the time,
yeah.
In people, especially those that have multiple problems through the years. A lot of times anxiety and then depression can follow, but can be the major root cause of the problem. So I think it'll definitely help in a lot of ways, but you're still going to have a human make the final interpretation, in my opinion. And again, humans will write the code for AI, but it's going to be a lot quicker, and it'll help us, get to information better. You just kind of hope that, and there will be sites that'll be more trusted than other sites, but it's a huge deal. AI is, it's really a future. That's why that stock NVIDIA has gone up just out of sight because of AI. So Yes, it will not take over medicine, but it'll be the biggest news in medicine for the next 5 or 10 years, and
It'll
probably
be a good
all.
kind of um, it'll help in many ways is kind of what you're saying when used well.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Like, I'll give you an example of this, Ben. This is not really me talking to you right now. It's a meme. I'm not really. It's my clone. I'm really out riding my bike right now, and this is not me. That
That
is
was
one thing.
good.
It could be. I made him laugh. See, Ben and
That
Katie
was
do,
good.
and Kelly thinks I'm funny, but Ben and Katie do not think I'm funny. I'm
That
not
was
sure about
funny.
Carter, but
That was funny.
but that is true though. Because I've seen examples that you think that's somebody, and it really is not even them.
I
It's kind
know.
of scary, really.
I know.
What could happen, and machines could take over. Um,
All right, let's keep it moving here. Great questions. I'm going to go to Instagram. I hope they're there. I'm going to get to this Afro Brain. If you're still there, if you can email me that question, and I'll make sure to communicate over there. Ben at performancemedicine.net. I'm going to get to Angie, and I can't put this up here, but I'll verbalize it for you. Can you explain the benefits for low dose naltrexone? I know that's, there's a lot, but how would you interpret that? What are the benefits of low dose naltrexone LDN?
You're right. There are many. It works great as an anti-inflammatory. It really kind of it's weird the way it works, but it tricks your brain into releasing its own endorphins. In a low dose, it's totally different than using it in high doses, which we use for narcotic addiction and alcoholism. But in low dose, it has another effect. It makes your brain think that you've blocked them. So it, in effect, makes your brain release its own feel-good hormones called endorphins. So it seems to have this great anti-inflammatory effect. We use it especially with autoimmune diseases. I mean, I've just had so much success treating rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and I've gotten a lot of people off the heavy hitter, a lot of the biologics that worked as well. Certainly when the methotrexate or the Humira quit working, it's a lot of times it's pretty effective. So I use it for a lot of things. I use it for help people sleep better. The only side effect I usually see with it's more dreaming, which means you're getting more REM sleep.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like really vivid dreams that you may get with it, then you can take it in the morning and it'll be fine. But gosh, mostly autoimmune disease, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, sleep. Some people lose it because it kind of helps cravings as well. So some people lose weight on it that need to. Some people sleep a lot better. With my Oura Ring, I measure it and I can tell when I've taken LDN and when I hadn't. I definitely get more REM sleep with it. So use it. There's so many uses for that. It's go back and look at the podcasts we've done on them in the past. But
yeah, if you want to learn more about LDN, if you search low dose naltrexone performance medicine, you'll see a couple explain this episodes with Robin Riddle, as well as a couple Common Sense MD episodes with Doc here. We're going to get going here. I'm going to answer this for D. Lynn. Can I stop in the Kingsport office and get the magnesium? Yes.
Sure.
You can.
Or you can get it online now too.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure can.
You can also, for those who aren't near an office, any of the Dr. Rogers formulas, we're going to have Digest Shield up there as well here shortly. It's performancemedicine.net/shop. And if you want to get Digest Shield online, you can get it at shieldnutra.com as well. So thank you, D-Lynn, for putting that in there. Let's get to Stephanie. This is looks like a Boston Heart panel. Okay. So an LP little a level 64 on Boston Heart Panel, CIMT, calcium scoring test as screenings, niacin, vitamin D. Okay, so these are suggested screenings, I think. Niacin, vitamin D, K2, any other recommendations? I hope I didn't botch that, Stephanie.
So you're looking for the things that you need to check out. Yeah, those are you need to get the complete Boston or Cleveland heart panels. LP little a is on there. If you're level 64, that's a little bit elevated. LP little a is a particular type of LDL bad cholesterol particle that is really totally inherited. But CIMT is a carotid intimal media thickness, which is a great way to measure your longevity, really. And it also can predict your chances of having a stroke and heart disease because it mirrors what's going on in your coronary arteries. Calcium scoring, great test. I get it on most people. You're getting a free scan of your lungs and also looking at buildup of calcium in your coronary arteries. Niacin, niacin actually, it's been in the news lately with some minuses, but we use it. It's vitamin B3. It flushes a lot of people, but it will bring down cholesterol and lower your LDL, but it also will raise your HDL. That brings an interesting comment I'll have on a patient I saw this week that you got to be careful when you're getting the hospital. But vitamin D with K2, you need it. So check your D levels. Take D with K. There's so many recommendations. The Boston Heart and the Cleveland Heart Panel are just good ways to start. Hormone levels, thyroid, adrenals. I guess that's what you're asking me. Are those good? All those are great recommendations.
And one of the things, Stephanie, I'll put in, we didn't explain this episode on LP little a just a couple weeks ago. So if you search for performance medicine LP little a, it should come up. Robin Riddle LP little a, it'll come up. Robin really dives deep into that marker and why we look at it and who we screen for it. Thank you for that question. Let's get to Gwen here. Do you see any issues with taking hormones if you have pancreatitis frequently?
No, but I'll definitely stay away from Ozempic type drugs, of course. But no, bioidentical hormones, that we use transdermally are not going to affect your pancreas. Other things could. Be careful, of course, with alcohol. And those things, certain medications. I don't know if you've had gallbladder issues or what, but I wouldn't think that hormones would affect pancreatitis. You got to be careful with when you're using hormones. You need to go to somebody who really knows a lot about them because a lot of doctors and specialists don't know much about them. So they're automatically what they don't know about, they're going to poo-poo. Like some cardiologists think that you shouldn't take hormones because they increase your blood clotting. Well, they don't if you use creams or pellets. So you have to kind of know the material that you're doing before you. And a lot of doctors just don't know much outside their scopes, and that's a very important lesson. The example I was going to tell you that I saw in my office recently this week was a guy who'd been hospitalized for syncope, passing out. And he was a diabetic, and he was actually put in the hospital for it. His diabetes wasn't adequately controlled. His A1C, I think, was 8. But anyway, so they did kind of cookbook formula, made sure he wasn't having a heart attack or made sure he didn't have a mass in his head or anything, and his carotids were okay. Did the cursory things and, the routine blood work. And so on his discharge medicines, they put him on some, he does need better control of his diabetes, but they put him on a bunch of medications that he really didn't need. He really needs a low carb diet. But in any event, they put him on this medicine that's a statin. They put him on 40 milligrams of Lipitor, just carte blanche. Diabetic, you need a statin. Anyway, they didn't know his baseline cholesterol is only 88. without medication, his cholesterol's too low anyway. I don't like to see a cholesterol below 140. So they put him on this statin that immediately caused problems. You get a tremendous myositis with things like that. You think you're falling, passing out now, wait till you get on that. But
Yeah.
so you have to think these things out. It's not cookbooks. You don't put somebody on a statin just because they're a diabetic. You have to look at all the other factors, especially what the baseline cholesterol is. There's some people that genetically have too low a cholesterol level. Just like there's some people who have too high an HDL level. That can happen too.
Yeah.
Your HDL can be too high. So you gotta really think these things out. I'm getting on my soapbox about that, but so if you get hospitalized, evaluate your medicines with your hopefully trusted family doctor, internal medicine expert, and make sure you're not taking too much and you're taking the appropriate medications.
It's so important, man. I hope you guys caught that. It's so important to come equipped. And so
you really got very little diabetic education. They did not prescribe a glucometer even. He's not checking his sugars. You really have to be vigilant about it. If you have diabetes, you really have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Gwen, thank you so much for that. Speaking of
and Gwen, if you have a lot of pancreatitis, look at your triglyceride levels. A lot of times that's a board question. A lot of times it'll be due to hypertriglyceridemia. And you need to get that down and maybe prevent it. So you want to prevent the pancreatitis.
Gwen, thank you so much. I'm just putting this up here because thank you, Rose. I want to give a huge shout out to Jill Henritzi in our Bristol office, as well as Carter, who's in here tonight. This is awesome. Thank you so much for putting this in here, Rose.
Thank you. Jill's amazing. She is amazing. That's the second time today we've gotten such a good compliment on Jill.
Yeah. Yeah, she is an absolute rock star. Shout out to the Bristol office, Jill Henritzi and Carter for assisting. Carter's everywhere. We love you, Carter. Let's keep moving. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can here. I want to get Mark's question here. A research team found COVID spike protein in blood up to 14 months post-infection and viral RNA in tissue up to 2 years after without reinfection. Let's see here. Did I miss it? Okay, so I think it's a longer one. Fragments were in connective tissue, possibly prompting immune responses. These viral reservoirs likely drive long COVID symptoms, including clotting disorders and cognitive dysfunction. Question is, it's looking like long COVID may become a tissue-based disease. How would you treat spike protein infection targets those affected by long COVID? Interesting. I hope I didn't miss anything.
There's a lot of different strategies, of course, but long COVID's a real thing.
Yeah.
Some people think 1 out of 4 people that had COVID suffer from long COVID, meaning a month's symptoms longer than 1 month after you get it. And it's usually shortness of breath, especially on exertion, brain fog, fatigue, and certainly this spike protein, whether it came from having COVID or another way you can get the spike protein introduced into your arm, you certainly can get in the tissues. I mean, when they first came out, that they thought it was just getting your deltoid. They soon found out it was everywhere, ovaries, testicles, everywhere. So that spike protein doesn't go away real quickly. So there's some strategies to kind of detox from it, including bromelain, nattokinase, curcumin. You can look at some of Dr. McCullough's work on getting rid of the spike protein or whatever the origin of it may have been. So, the other things you need to do, infrared sauna, you almost have to treat it like you would treat chronic mold or Lyme or any kind of chronic infection in your body, to do those things where you kind of detox, whether it be using chelating agents or just getting in infrared sauna, sweating, using red lights, um, you know, clean water. Um, some people are talking about hydrogenated water, which I'm not against. I like methylene blue for this. I like low-dose naltrexone. I put everybody with long COVID on LDN that I can. Even, you know, you can go to the Stanford Long Haul Clinic. They'll run every test in the book on you, and then they'll end up putting you on low-dose naltrexone. You know, something we've been using for years. That was via article in Wall Street Journal not long ago that I cut out. It's really interesting. So LDN's a real thing, guys. I mean, it's a really helpful thing. That's another great use for it is for COVID, long COVID. So yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. All these methodologies, there's not one way to treat it. Some people get POTS with it. I mean, you know, it's causing, you know, you need to take aspirin because it is a blood clotting disease, you know.
Mark, thank you so much for that. Coal miner's daughter, welcome in. D-Lynn, thank you. Let's real quick. We're gonna get out of here in just a second. I want to be kind of conscientious of your time, Doc. Let's get to Angie.
Can you promise? Because I'm losing my buzz here. I'm kidding. That's from a movie.
I know. Angie's asking, this is a great question. It's around methylene blue. Can you take methylene blue if on low dose of Celexa?
It's a great question because if you look at the literature, it kind of says you shouldn't, but really you can. If you look at the research from University of Texas, God, I keep forgetting that guy's name, but I listened to one of his hour-and-a-half lectures. He's the guru of methylene blue. He's been studying it for 30 years. And he says it's fine. And I certainly have put many people on it and hadn't had a problem. I mean, if somehow you think you're going to get that serotonin syndrome, which I don't think I've ever seen, you know, stop it, but it's just not going to happen. But if you look in the literature, it'll warn you against this, but I'm really not worried about it.
Angie, thank you for that. Thank you for putting that in there real quick. I'm going to sneak this one in here from Bianca. Bianca, I hope you're still with us tonight. Sorry this took me so long. Is REM considered deep sleep? With the Garmin, there's REM and deep. I did not realize that.
It's a great question. Yeah, that's part of deep sleep. Your deep sleep or your REM and your deep. Those are considered the two forms of deep sleep. And then, of course, you have your light sleep, and then you have your awake period. But they're all important, especially REM for memory. You know, with my Oura Ring, I'm able to look at it, you know, every night how much I got of REM, deep, light, sleep latency, movement. This Oura Ring even checks my O2 sats at night. So I love my Oura Ring. I've said it many times. But yeah, it certainly is considered one of the two phases of deep sleep. Great question.
Thank you, Bianca. And real quick, I'm going to sneak this in from Betsy. Trying to figure out what supplements I need to take. I currently take D, C, magnesium, quercetin. Need to add a multivitamin. One, I know. I want him to answer this question. Is it possible to take too many vitamins? And then kind of tell Betsy what you would add if she's just starting out.
Yeah, it is possible you could take too many. It'd be hard to do. You know, with the fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, possible. And the one everybody thinks about, well, am I getting too much vitamin D? That'd be really hard to do. I have seen it. You know, it's your levels up to 130. It could predispose you to have kidney stones. You know, it can mess your parathyroid a little bit, but that's very hard to do. You have to take a lot of it, but certainly that is possible. But yeah, that's a great, you know, I like magnesium at night. Put that back up there, Ben. I can't see.
I'm sorry.
You took it off.
Hold on 1 second, Betsy. I apologize. That was my fault. Here we go.
Yeah, certainly magnesium is separate from a multi. Take that at night and get the right forms of magnesium. Quercetin's great, especially for immune system. I take it. D with K. Vitamin C certainly is in there. You know, really you could, and I like the B vitamins. There's so many. That's why I make my own multivitamin because it has the right amounts. Again, I'm not trying to be a vitamin salesman, but it is domestically sourced. It's not coming from China or India. It's triple tested. It has no fillers in it. It's dated. And for example, it has 5,000 of D with K, the MK7 180. It has the absorbable form of vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams. It has 10,000 of vitamin A. It has the methylated B complex that's so important for energy and a lot of other things, especially if you have a methylation disorder. It has the zinc. It has copper in it. It has manganese. It has what else is that? It got lycopene. There's a lot in that multivitamin. Most multis just don't have enough. So you take your multi, it may have 1,000 or 500 of D. You really need 5,000 usually. Check your levels. So if you get a multi, get a good potent one. There's what mine is. I don't have my glasses, so it's small print, but that's what is in there. But yeah, those are great supplements. You definitely, if you got a good, in my opinion, really the vitamin D with K is number one. 2 would probably be omega-3s. That's going to be a separate vitamin. And then 3 would probably be magnesium. And then you go from there depending on what your particular needs may be. But great question.
Betsy, thank you for that. Great question there. I hope that helps a little bit. Anita, Anita's about to go the Oura Ring route. I love that.
Right.
I got one on as well. I'm like me and Carter both have the hand-me-down Oura Rings, which it doesn't get any better than a hand-me-down Oura Ring, in my opinion.
Hand-me-down. That's a good one.
Let's get Bianca real quick. Can we take all 3 of your super vitamins at the same time?
You can, if you got a strong stomach. I mean, my super, I had somebody today that came in and said, look, your super, I cannot take them all at once. And yeah, I think they may have been taking them on an empty stomach. Certainly take it with food. The way I do it, I take 2 with lunch and 1 with supper. I space them out a little bit. But certainly, because it's pretty potent. Most people do fine with it. I mean, a lot of people even could do it on an empty, but it's potent. You could, though. You can try it. I just tend to space mine out a little bit. I don't eat breakfast, so that's why I do 2 with lunch and 1 with dinner. But good question.
You got it, Anita. Once I get one of my own or my next hand-me-down, you've got mine. I think that's awesome. I love this. I love this. Doc, this was awesome. What a show tonight, guys. I think I got to everybody. I think Kelly might have asked around vitamin D from the sun versus supplementing with it. Oh, there we go. There we go. I thought I missed it.
It is better. It is better to get it from the sun, providing you don't get sunburned. Yeah. But it's kind of hard to get enough through the sun. Again, you can't have sunscreen on. It'll cut it out. But yeah, I recommend the sun. I think sunlight is great. You don't want to get sunburned. That's what causes skin cancer and ages your skin. But I don't mind a tan at all, gradual tan. I like it. As a matter of fact, I think the sun is so healthy. The sun is healing. When they had the flu epidemic of 1918, they noticed in a particular hospital in Boston, they didn't have enough room for all the people dying of influenza that killed so many people. Yep. Way worse than what COVID did. But they had too many, they didn't have enough beds. So they put all the new patients outside in the courtyard, and those patients got better when the ones inside were dying. It's because they got the sun. Yeah. Even in the winter. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing. That is amazing. Makes Carter saying morning sun. I know Huberman's really big on for your circadian rhythm, which I know we're all kind of thinking about now with the time change recently, getting that circadian rhythm down. So some morning sun's great.
Because the sun hits your skin and through the action of melanin turns it straight to vitamin D. It's straight in there. It's potent. It's life-giving. And I love the sun.
Bianca's asking for the link to the shop. Carter, can you put that in there? It's performancemedicine.net/shop. Let's see. Let's see if I can figure this out. Hold on. If I don't get this in here, Bianca, performancemedicine.net/shop. And I'd like to get it up on the ticker there, but I can't. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. I'm putting this link in here. Hope this helps some of you. There we go. Okay, there we go. Performancemedicine.net/shop. If anybody wants to check out Dr. Rogers' formulas, thank you guys in advance. This was the best. Doc, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben.
This is such a good time as always. We do this every single Tuesday. Thank you to our Instagram family over there. We do this Tuesday, 7 to 8. We try to get to as many questions as we can. If we miss somebody, I apologize. Okay, good, Bianca. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Carter. All right. We calling it a show. Steve's giving us a 10. How did we do?
Steve, how you doing? I had a good time doing it.
I think, did we do okay, guys? I give Dad a 10. I give me a 9 because I brought the energy. I got my walk in.
You
today.
did. I kind of lost my buzz halfway between, but I'm back. But yeah, you did. You have a lot of energy. You have a lot more energy than I do. You know.
Diane's giving us a 10. Thank you, Diane. All right, we're gonna head out of here. Are we having dogs or no?
I don't know if the dogs are coming or not. If they get down there pretty quickly, but they may be outside. Not now at this daylight savings times here. It's great, you know. Although, yeah, there they come.
There we go.
Oh, Izzy, come here. You dog excited. Look at this. Wow.
Look at this. They're ready. That's Izzy right there.
Come here, Ike. Come here.
We call those the
Methylene
blue dogs.
Yeah. All right. There's Ike. Ike's birthday is the 16th, so his birthday's coming up. He'll be 2.
Ike's
And
about
Izzy,
to be 2.
Yeah, he's accepting dog bones and
dog bones and pup cups.
And Izzy is already 1, so she just turned 1. So
Look at that.
I don't know. We ought to vote on which one's the cutest. Someday we'll have a vote.
Look at
They're
that.
both cute. Everybody
Izzy's
has their own
cute.
favorites.
Izzy's cute. Ike's amazing. They're the best. Love you guys.
All right. See you, man. Thank you.
Guys, we're gonna head out. Thank you, everybody. Kelly's saying give them some treats. They'll get some treats here in just a second. Kelly, we love you. Have a blast in Austin. Tell Adam we love him too. Hope you guys are having an amazing time. Guys, we will be back Tuesday, 7 to 8 for live Q&A, taking your health and wellness questions. We appreciate y'all so much. You guys make this show great. Thank you to everyone who's on our team. Thank you for being here tonight. Carter, Jasmine, geez, Julie, Montana, you guys are the best. We love you. We'll see you next week. All right, here we go. Where's my outro? Where's my outro? Kelly, I love you.
Don't go away.